Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome again to Syriana Analysis. I'm your host, Kevork Almassian. Thank you very much for tuning in to today's special video. Today is the 105th anniversary of the Armenian genocide. 1.5 million Armenians perished in 1915, including my family members and relatives. Now, 105 years later, we said never again. We said that such atrocities cannot happen again because we live in the era of digital media. We have smartphones. 105 years ago, maybe people said we didn't know about it. We didn't have cameras. We haven't heard about it, etc., etc. But now everybody sees and everybody reads and everybody watches social media. And despite that, we couldn't stop recent genocides and ethnic cleansings. So that is really shameful and the stain in the forehead of humanity that we individuals and humans, basically, we can't really stop such atrocities when politicians, when governments, when armies commit them. And why I'm making this video, because I want to explain to you how the genocide had an impact on my conscience and my understanding of politics, and why I am sympathetic to the people who suffer similar atrocities, right? Especially that when I was a child, my basically family members and my family, my father, my mother, my grandmothers, they all told me about these stories of the Armenian genocide and the type of crimes that the Ottoman Empire and the Young Turk government have committed against my ancestors. Thankfully, that from my grandmother's side, her family arrived in Qamishli, which is nowadays located in northeast of Syria. The Kurds call it Qamishlo. And my grandfather's side, the survivors arrived to Aleppo, and they met in Aleppo and they got married. My grandmother was from Mardin, and my grandfather was from Kilis under the Ottoman Empire. So I was told about all these atrocities. Like, I was told about the decapitations. I watched some of the photos of putting severed heads over sticks. I watched documentaries, movies about the genocide and how they used to burn people alive and kill the pregnant women. Things that you cannot really imagine, right? But then in 2011, I was 21 years old, and I was 22 years old. I was fresh graduate of a bachelor degree in international relations and diplomacy. I recently studied, politics. I was engaged in political affairs, and this has raised lots of alarms and red flags, because from the beginning, the Turkish intervention was quite clear. And for me, the Turkish intervention, especially under Erdogan, was the red line, because Erdogan himself and his foreign minister back then said that they want to revive a Commonwealth system, because the Ottoman Empire has to be revived in the region under the Turkish leadership, and they wanted to include Syria under the sphere of influence of Turkey. But 100 years ago, we were subjugated and oppressed and massacred by the grandparents of Erdogan. So any sane Armenian would say no or object to it, right? And when my grandparents arrived to Syria, the good Syrians, Arabs, Kurds, Assyrians, different components of the society back then, they helped my grandparents. They gave them shelter. So the people in Syria know what happened to the Armenians. 100 years later, some people unfortunately have forgotten about it, especially from let's say, the people who are craving for the glories of the past. They think that the Ottoman Empire will bring them into glories or bring glories to them. But I would like to ask you a simple question. Name me 3 innovations or positive innovations and developments under the Ottoman Empire for the Arabs, for the Kurds, for the Armenians, for the Assyrians, for everyone in the region. You cannot find. So it was quite easy for me from the beginning to say, yes, I object to the authoritarianism of the Assad regime, but I'm not going to replace him with an Ottoman ruler by bringing a puppet government like the Jolani now. He's a puppet of MIT for the Turkish intelligence, right? So this was quite easy for me to understand from the beginning, and my objection was based basically on the fact that we don't want a Turkish client state in Syria. This is number one. In addition to other factors, of course. Today, in the 2024, 2025, this animosity towards the Armenians, I see it increasingly growing as well among these proxies of Turkey in the region. I mean, recently in 2020, when Azerbaijan attacked Nagorno-Karabakh, Turkey sent mercenaries from Syria, from the Syrian National Army, which is a Turkish proxy army, to Nagorno-Karabakh, and they fought against the Armenians. They killed Armenians. They ethnically cleansed the Armenians from Nagorno-Karabakh. And one of the leaders of this Syrian National Army, his name is Abu Amsha, he has become now a commander in the new Syrian army under Jolani's regime. He's leading an entire military unit in Syria. And these people were participants in the ethnic cleansing of the Armenians just recently in Nagorno-Karabakh. And despite that, the Pashinyan regime, he sent his representative to Damascus to congratulate Jolani for the regime change. We are living in very absurd times. Syria has fallen into the hands of the Ottomans. Nagorno-Karabakh has fallen into the hands of the Ottomans as well. And now they are sandwiching Armenia between Azerbaijan and Turkey, and they are massing troops on the borders with Armenia. Meanwhile, the Pashinyan government has made sure to pacify the Armenian people in the past years. They have targeted the national identity of the Armenians by equating it to fascism. They have targeted the Armenian church, so they want to sideline the church from having its say over politics and social affairs. But national identity and Christianity are integral parts of the Armenian identity. And they are defensive mechanism against this type of genocides and ethnic cleansings and attacks against the Armenians. So when you destroy the national identity and you destroy the church, what foundations do you leave to the people to resist against a very fascistic, ideological, neo-Ottoman offensive against you? You are leaving your country defenseless, socially and spiritually, against the people who say they want to ethnically cleanse you. The same people who committed the Armenian genocide 105 years ago, their grandsons today, they say the genocide never happened. They don't recognize it, but then they say, when the opportunity arises, we will do it again. And they're doing it again. They have done it again just recently, in 2023. In Nagorno-Karabakh, ethnically cleansed 120,000 Armenians. Meanwhile, the international community didn't even blink an eye. So my message would be to the Armenians, when we say never again, we have to solidify the society. And solidifying the society requires national identity. And believe me, in this case, when people say the national identity is fascism, these people want you to perish. And those people who are trying to destroy the Armenian church, they are trying to destroy the Armenian people spiritually. And by doing so, they are giving a great service to Turkey and Azerbaijan. And let's remember something here. Turkey and Azerbaijan, they are not destroying their religion or their national identity. They are proud Turks. They're proud Muslims. It's only the Armenians who are trying to destroy their own pillars of resistance against them. Right? And I'm not here calling for any offensive wars. I'm not here to hate against any Azeri or any Turk. I have many. It's not like I'm going to say, oh, I have so many Turkish friends. No, I do have many Turkish friends. And I do love them and I do respect them. They recognize the Armenian genocide and they don't wish any ill to me. I have no problem with them. I'm not going to go back to the situation of 110 years ago and say I'm going to take revenge from them. No. All I'm asking for is recognition and respect. That's it. And don't come after me again. But it is still happening. So since it is still happening, I have to protect my society and my country and my people against this type of invasions. And therefore, when I oppose the Pashinyan regime, not because I hate him or because he's, I don't know, they say, oh, you're jealous of Pashinyan. No. I'm just trying to say that the existence of the Armenians are at stake. And Azerbaijan and Turkey would not hesitate to ethnically cleanse another 3 million Armenians from Armenia on the long run. If we destroy our national identity and our spiritual identity and our religious identity, yes, of course they will do it again. What do you expect them to do? And now Turkey has Turkey feels they're emboldened after what happened in Syria. They feel the glory has returned to Turkey, and the Armenian government is aligning itself with this type of regime in Turkey. It's very unfortunate. Sorry, I'm sitting on the floor and there are so many ants walking on me here. So I made this video to say, yes, the Armenian genocide has played a major role in my understanding of politics. And however, at the same time, there were so many other factors why I didn't join the so-called revolution in the country. And there are so many incidents happening nowadays in Syria. I'm sure you're following them, and you see and you know that these people are not tolerant people. They are not. They don't believe in Syrian mosaic. They don't believe in the Syrian multiculturalism. They don't believe in secularism. They are embedded with a new Ottoman project in the region. So of course not. I'm not going to be on the side of this type of people. And for the Armenians in Armenia and in the diaspora, when we say never again, we have to put efforts. We have to work towards solidifying our societies. And I've been so many times attacked by Armenians themselves because they're so-called liberal Armenians and they're like, oh, let us live, we don't want war. Armenia is not even attacking any other country. Armenia is in a defensive posture. Well, all I'm calling for is the survival of the Armenian nation. So this would be my message, and especially for the people who support Pashinyan, we have to be aware that Azerbaijan and Turkey would not hesitate to ethnically cleanse the rest of the Armenians. And there were so many examples of people like the Assyrians, for example, who are now shattered and scattered all around the world, and they don't have any, let's say, place for them or country for them. And the Armenians could face a similar destiny if we continue on the same path. So I hope this would be a little bit a waking call for my Armenian friends. I love you all, seriously. I don't hate anyone, even if you support Pashinyan. I'm just warning that these Neo-Ottomans and these Turkic tribes, they say they want to revive this Ottoman Empire between Constantinople to all the way. They don't even say only to Constantinople. They're also talking about Greece, all the way to Central Asia. So this is another expansionist project in the region, and losing Syria in this case to the Ottomans, it should terrify every Armenian in Armenia, because if they did it to Syria, they could do it also to Armenia. So be aware of it and push against it. And cooking dolma to the Azeris and the Turkish invaders will not solve the problem. So I've been your host, Kevork Almassian of Syriana Analysis. And I will see you tomorrow on Friday, 5 p.m. Central European Time, 11 a.m. Eastern American Time, with Dr. Tarek Cheril Amar, historian, who we are doing with him regular podcasts every Friday. The name of the show is Cold War 2.0. So if you are looking forward to it, hit the like button and subscribe to this YouTube channel. We are only 1,200 subscriptions away from the 100K goal. Peace be upon you, upon your families. Salam.